Lazarus has done it again.
It's all Fernando Bale, the champion, well clear of Waymore's Blues, and Fernando Bale.
And welcome to our episode 2 of Racing, Pacing and Chasing. I'm Aaron Bain and I'm joined by my co-host Matt Knight, the King of the North. It's great to be back with our viewers here for our second episode.
Aaron, it's brilliant to be back. Racing, Pacing, Chasing, all new. It's our exciting new racing program that we're bringing you all three codes of racing, mate. And mate, we are proud to be here as well. I can't say if there's any other show quite like it, Aaron.
It's revolutionary, you should say, and all three codes focusing on racing, pacing and chasing, just that. And we're here today. I'll tell you what, you thought episode 1 was big. We have got a cracker of episode 2, but I'll leave it to you to mention our sponsors because you like doing that.
Mate, I love our sponsors. They're very good to us at Racing, Pacing and Chasing, and Piranha Media as well. We are at the Prince Albert Hotel here in Gawler as well. A great little pub right in the middle of the main street here in Gawler. Great place for a nice quiet pint as well.
Certainly, and we are recording from here tonight, which is excellent for their support for this show week in, week out. But as I did say at the start of the show, we have got an action-packed show tonight in store with plenty of news to get through. A lot in the racing scene as well, but we've got 2 very special guests tonight, and may I add, probably couldn't get 2 better guests on the show. So from our first special guest will be from the racing show, Shane Collins, the CEO of the Gawler and Barossa Jockey Club, and we did mention last week about the Gawler Cup coming up in late October, clear the diary, and so we'll talk more to him tonight about that, which I'm really looking forward to. And we said last week we were going to be joined by Wayne Hill, the King of Mildura. He started the season with a bang. He's our current leading driver this season, and I'll tell you what, we've got some tough questions lined up for him too. So hopefully we can bring him some more good luck than we did Jake last week. He had 3 in, 1 train, 2 drives. They all ran last. He didn't have much luck. So let's hopefully we can take the mockery off, and I do hope so this week because Wayne's actually driving one for me. So,
mate, I'm for your sake, I'm hoping we do take the mockers off. For the show's sake, I hope we take the mockers off.
Because no one will want to come in.
Otherwise we're going to be stuck for guests. But
anyway.
No, look, it's brilliant, mate. We've got an absolutely jam-packed show lined up tonight. So, mate, let's get straight into it.
Look forward to it.
And Aaron, let's get straight into the racing segment of tonight's show, and it is brought to you by the Gawler Barossa Jockey Club as well. Shane Collins and the team down there, they do a wonderful job. We got Shane on the show, as we just said, mate. It's going to be brilliant. Ballot Cup today, a very exciting day.
Ballot Cup, I tell you what, and Brown Ben, 3rd time lucky you could say, and I tell you what a start to the training partnership of Tony and Calvin McAvoy. And just on that, I reckon we should get either or both of them in one night. I tell you what, that'd get some views, and we look forward to that. Probably Calvin. Tony's a busy man, but Calvin's obviously heading up the SA ranks. And congratulations to them today to win their sort of first feature race together. It is a listed race, the Ballot Cup, and Corey Parrish took the ride there. So 3rd time lucky, we say. Runner up 2 years ago, 5th in the last year's Cup. He'd come back. He loves the track, and tell you what, he won well today.
Mate, he was brilliant today. We didn't back Brown Ben, obviously being there today. Cracking day, Ballot
Good
Cup.
price, 16 to 1 too.
Yeah, spoke to Calvin as well, so we will get him on this show, but paid it fantastically, and the way it ran, you certainly wouldn't have thought it ran
Their
like
team
a $16
is flying at the moment, the McAvoy team, and full credit to them. But just on the Ballot Cup, it is the largest country thoroughbred race in SA. It is a listed race that we spoke about, and no doubt Shane Collins on later will talk to him about it. But he's he'd be keen to challenge that title as that title of the largest country thoroughbred race in SA, because the Gawler Jockey Club, they're doing a great job as well. But it's 2 great races. Crowd today, probably in previous years, 8,000 plus. I don't know if you heard any numbers today. Yeah. All of that.
Yeah. So I did get some numbers through. So I reckon we'll be very, very close to that as well. So that just shows. Talking to a few people over the last couple of weeks, the Ballot Cup traditionally is run 2 weeks earlier than it was this year, and probably had a stinker over the last 5 years with weather and that. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it was
Great
anything
day.
But a stinker today.
First day of spring weather, 26 degrees.
Mate, I was in jeans, it was hot to be out there.
$64,000 in prize money, the race. And I'll tell you what, the most interesting fact, I think, credit to racing in SA and how strong it is starting to turn around and go. Every runner today was trained and ridden by an SA participant.
Well,
outstanding.
Mate, you don't see that.
Unbelievable.
Any code very often. You don't really see that even very often.
Especially in listed races.
When you go to Melbourne and that as well. So to have that, fully SA personnel, it's a real tick in the box for racing in South Australia.
100%. And moving straight along, let's go into state. So we had we talk about the Spring Carnival. We had the Group 3 Concord Stakes on the weekend, run and won. And I'll tell you what about the champ, Red Zell? We talk about Winks, and Winks has passed us now, but Red Zell keeps popping his head up. He's a 3-time winner of the Concord Stakes. He's a 2-time Everest winner. 15.6 million. I just want you to say that slowly. 15.6 million, and he's still going, and well in the market for the third Everest.
It's tough as a punter, Aaron, because I don't know why I keep backing against him, thinking it's going to get beat. It's been a brilliant horse, and I reckon some very, very happy owners again. Races against some unbelievable horses as well, Aaron. Obviously, Sunlight as well out of the McAvoy camp, and Nature Streep as well. Nature Streep, I should say.
Yeah. Zoo Style was unbeaten going into the Concord, and Pirata, which he'll feature very heavily later in our horses to follow. He stormed home, mate.
And mate, just on Sunlight as well. Sunlight's still a quality horse, one to watch. Probably just from its gate, had to follow Nature Strip out, and probably didn't get to where it wanted to be in a winning position. But that's one to watch going into spring. I reckon I'll have a couple of wins.
I think you heard Tony on air say it was probably a little bit going in underdone, and Calvin might have said the same in talking to him. But I think she's certainly a quality mare, and she'll head towards the Everest, and good luck to connections there. But I tell you what, Kieran McAvoy, a bit of scrutiny around him. Obviously, the jockey of Red Zell. Obviously, there was a bit of scrutiny around going into the short, so that's Red Zell's next race, where he clashes with Classique Legend, which is a broom sprinter, grey. So Shatak was off the scene, and Classique Legend comes in. There's been a bit of, who will he ride and stick with? I don't know how you could, what you say about backing Red Zell. He's backed Red Zell in. He said, I'm sticking with him for the shorts. And I looked at actually the markets today for the Everest, and Red Zell's $7, Classique Legend's $8. So a tough decision, but when you've already won 2 Everests on him, you've just come off the Concord victory, you probably can't go far away from sticking with him in the lead up to it. So this is their last lead up race to the Everest, but current favourite in the Everest markets is Santa Ana Lane at $5. So a wide open market, and there are still some horses yet to go to start in the series.
Santa Ana Lane, I talk about not backing Red Zell. Santa Ana Lane's usually the horse I'm backing, so it never wins. And then when I forget to back Santa Ana Lane, it wins. So look, there's some absolutely quality horses going around. Look, I'll probably have to. I'll be looking to stick with Santa Ana Lane in that Everest, but I think Red Zell won at 8s or 9s last year as well.
Some value, and there'll be plenty to play out between now and the Everest, which is obviously coming up in later October as well, or mid-October. But moving straight along, because we've got plenty to get through on the racing show. Damien Oliver winning his 10th Scobie Breesley medal. So that medal is awarded for riding excellence. Obviously, Craig Williams won the overall jockey premiership, and he's those famous red boots, or that storm down the outside, or pick the gap late. That's Craig Williams' trademark there. But it's a remarkable achievement by Damien. 10th medal. That's to win it 10 times. To win it once is a great achievement. To win it 10 times is just you just can't fathom it. 47 years old as well, but still one of the most in-demand jockeys in Australia.
Well, it just shows you the quality of Damien Oliver. You talk about Craig Williams in there. Let's not forget the quality of him as well. 2 brilliant riders brilliant jockeys for a long period of time. Obviously, Media Puzzle is probably the most famous one.
2002 Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, for Oliver. Obviously, a movie about it and whatnot as well. But even today, he wrote another couple of. I think he had 3 or 4 of the first 5 winners today in Melbourne. Damien as well, so it just shows the class of
he's still going to play a big part over the spring. Moving on, and probably a bit of sad news with the passing of Group 1 trainer Russell Cameron. Passed away on Tuesday the 10th of September, but looking into this, he passed away at the age of 61 on Tuesday morning. 3rd generation trainer, but interestingly he first gained a licence in 1989 in South Australia. He went on then to train in Victoria, New Zealand, and then in Macau as well. So he's had an outstanding career, trained 600 plus winners. And I tell you what, he was responsible for some very big plunges, and none bigger than one day at Victoria Park, I believe, a horse called Mortalox was back from, I believe, and when I was looking at this today, I was reading a news feed where it was there as well, from 400 to 1 into $4.50, 9 to 2 in the old term. That's a big go, and I believe the money they collected was just someone's seen it with their own eyes.
Astronomical.
Astronomical, as you could imagine. So, yeah, and all condolences to the family there. But it's always a sad moment in racing when you see, a legend or a Group 1 trainer like that leave us behind. But his legacy will live on.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it's from anyone really that's involved in the industry. But yeah, look, I'm sure they'll share, obviously a sad time, but they'll share many good stories of those 61 years, and I'm sure there's a few they could tell.
Winners. 2 more segments just to quickly cover. The Hugh Bowman, so he suffered a hand injury at track work on Tuesday morning as well. Forced to undergo minor surgery. There's no news yet as to how many meetings he missed, but would have been interesting if it was in the time of Winks. I'm tipping he would have put the old finger wrap on it from the footy days and said, "I'm right to go, boss." So, Hugh's a tough character, but he'll be back out there pretty soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, imagine if Winks was still going around, I don't reckon he would be letting that information go to anyone. But look, it'll be interesting
Certainly
to see.
not Damien Oliver or Craig Williams.
No, not at all. It'll be interesting to see how long he does sit out for, but quality jockey, so
Big spring coming up for
never
sure.
wants to be out in spring, that's for sure.
And lastly, some big news, and probably my most favourite news. I follow the stable very closely. The David Hayes camp. David Hayes returning to train in Hong Kong in 2020. 56 years old. He last left Hong Kong in 2005. He trained 458 winners in his last stint. 17 Group 1 winners.
Yep.
That's a feat in itself to train one. He's trained 17 of them. He won the premiership in 97, 98, again in 98, 99. What he's achieving here, he's won 77 Group 1s in total. And not to mention, we've got to mention his son, Ben, also his cousin, Tom Daberneck, as well. And the training here will continue. But, I think that's great for Australian racing to see David go. And he's quoted to say that he wants to finish his racing career over there. But he'll still play a big part in the team back here. Yeah,
so obviously talk of the town at the moment and talk today at the Ballot Cup as well. So So he's actually taking his name off the Australian ownership and will be just a pure owner in HongOng, which, for the average punter, you probably don't realise that. But it's a big move, and I think by all reports, one that he's looking very, very forward to completing.
There's amazing things happening over there, and probably my favourite quote that lives with me as well, and I follow by it. And you look at the greats, but the future belongs to those who plan for it. His late father, Colin Hayes, set that in stone with the Lindsay Park that has been created, the monster, you could say. And David Hayes lives by that, and I really like that saying, and I sort of live by that myself a bit.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if he makes his son get delisted from the Bulldogs just to help back out at the stables here in Victoria as well.
Wouldn't have thought he's fedging his own very good career. But, I think we need to move into our next segment. It's been general news, there's been a lot to get through, but let's go into our first segment shortly with 3 wide, no cover. And 3 wide, no cover, what a great way to kick off. This is where we find the unlucky runners from last week. So, Nighty, it was up to you last week to give us the unlucky runner. We're going to give it to you again.
Yeah, well, mate, a horse called Flop, and
probably unlucky.
Yeah, probably says it in the name, mate. Race 6 at Morphettville on Saturday, and probably just an unsuitable distance. Obviously settled last and made a run 3 or 4 wide at the 600 and pushed 6 wide at the top of the straight, and it probably just kept running on, but beaten 2 lengths the winner. So, look, it showed a lot of promise, and one to certainly keep the eye on as well, Aaron.
Let's have a look at the closing stages. You've only got to look out wide. Flop in the green and blue colours and white cap. But I'll tell you what, it's one to follow.
Let a length and a quarter. Bayou's coming now. Then Magic Sunset. Flop from the back. Magna Bella. She needs the pose, but she'll get it. Blinker's first time. Yep, that does the trick. Magna Bella won by 4. Maybe 3 in the end. Flop.
Obviously, we've seen that replay there, and we look to see her over the 12 to 1400. She'll be hitting the line again, I think. So Flop, certainly one of the ones to follow.
Yeah, certainly one that'll be slipping into those black books, Aaron, as well.
And that obviously Punt Club sponsor our 3 wide no cover segment every week.
Yeah, Jason Neve and the team down at Punt Club there, absolutely brilliant. Download the Punt Club app today to get your Punt Club started, mate.
Remember, gamble responsibly.
Always.
That takes us into our next segment. Moving on to In the Money. So, In the Money, our segment sponsor this week, and as is every week, the Ladies in Racing magazine, the only magazine dedicated to women in racing, and that is ladiesinracingmagazine.com.au. Jump on there if you haven't done so already. But In the Money, this is the one.
You've got one, Aaron.
I've got one. I'm going to kick off. I tell you what, I've found one. I have found one. Going Gaga. Not Lady Gaga.
I love the name.
Going Gaga. Morpheville on Saturday, race 8, trained by Michael Hickmott at Murray Bridge. Okay, he does a great job with his team, but he was very good third behind the promising, we say again, McAvoy trained, Nistan, and I tell you what, mate, there's just another one, as we said, yeah, exactly right. 4 wide from the 600, even wider turning for home. I think it was catching the next strain back to Gawler, or sorry, because there was not one going to Murray Bridge, but it was that wide on the home bend, so couldn't really sprint with him, but it kept finding late. So soft going probably isn't his most favourite track, surface you could say, and he was up in weight. But let's have a look at his run. He's in the navy blue colours with the white star, the widest runner of course, as we said, catching the next train out of Morpheville.
Sunmate Going Gaga down the middle, then Star Patriot, Nistan doing it well inside the 2, gets clear from Sunmate, Going Gaga, Boris and Ossery, they're all battling, cannot be serious next, but Nistan inside the 50 is going all the way. Sunmate tries hard, but Nistan defeats Sunmate. Going Gaga.
And that's certainly one to follow, Going Gaga. We'll be watching it for coming weeks. But King of the North, over to you for our second horse to follow. We've got one each week.
Yeah, mate. Coming out of the Concord Stakes, obviously we've touched on it with Red Zell, and what a quality horse that is. One of the best to watch this spring. But one that really caught my eye out of that is a horse called Parada. Ran second in the end. Settled last 6 lengths off the leader, mate. And at the 300 metre mark, it was still last. Watch it, mate, at the 150 metre mark, absolutely motor home to only go down by a neck. So we're going to have a look at the vision from the 200 metre mark here, mate. And watch it, you can't miss it. It's the widest, it's last, and watch it absolutely bolt in here. Certainly one to watch for the spring.
Red Zell still being cuddled. Nature Strips come off the bridle. Red Zell's cruising in the lead. Parada's winding up and Gruff getting a late split. It's Red Zell in front. Coming home well is Parada the outside. But Red Zell, he's clinging on. He's back. And Red Zell makes it 3 in a row in the Concord. Beats Parada.
And certainly an eye catcher there, Parada, so we'll be watching him over the spring. But that is our In the Money segment. We've had 3 wide no cover. Obviously horse, flop, 3 wide no, and then for the 3 wide no cover, In the Money, we got Going Gaga and Parada. So we look forward to following those over the coming weeks. That's it, and we'll be back after the break with our first guest this evening, Shane Collins, CEO of the Barossa Jockey Club. And welcome back after our short break on our racing segment this week of Racing, Pacing and Chasing. And we're here with our first special guest tonight, Shane Collins, CEO of the Gawler and Barossa Jockey Club. Shane, welcome.
Thanks, Aaron. Good to be here, mate.
Yeah, pleased to have you on board. And firstly, we must point out that you and your board are a major sponsor of our show, and we thank you for having the vision to understand the power of social media and also internet TV and coming on board supporting Racing, Pacing and Chasing for their inaugural year, you could say.
Yeah, no, good thrill, and for us, if anything we can do to help both the industry and obviously promoting it, and well done to you and your team. It's fantastic, and we're proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to growing it with not only you and our other sponsors as well, and we'll get into that as we get to the Gawler Cup as well. But firstly, how long in the role as CEO?
Time's flown, just over 3 years already, mate.
Right,
so
okay.
Just did 3 years last month. So it's gone quite quickly.
Yeah, it certainly has. Now facilities on the course at the Gawler and Barossa Jockey Club, they're outstanding facilities, headlined by probably the Wolf Blast Pavilion. That's an excellent function centre, not only for race days, but in general. Can seat nearly 300 people. But maybe just tell us a little bit about that journey of not only that pavilion, but the upgrades you've made, and some only more recently leading into this year's Cup.
Yeah, it's a good point, Aaron. We're quite lucky because of our facilities are quite modern. Yep. While the racing industry's been around for many, many years, unfortunately a lot of the facilities have too. Yeah. And Gawler's decision, back some 10 years ago to do the redevelopment is just an absolute bonus for us as a club. So the facilities themselves are really accommodating, whether it's inside, whether it's just outside. Yep. Everything's on an elevated level, so any patron can come and be in any position and be able to see the racing really well. And we've developed a little bit more over recent times. Obviously, the Wolf Blast Pavilion was only put in just before I started, yep. So it's coming up to about its 4th year. But that's just been a fantastic place for people to come and watch the races. It's insulated, although it's open in the way of vision, but it is heavily insulated. Yep. So during the warmer months, we can put some fans and whatever in there and keep quite cool, and in the cooler months, same with the heating. So fantastic facility, and the mounting yard's right next to you. We've just increased in the last month or so. We've put a new decking area on the side of the pavilion, so it gives you a real good platform to view the home straight and the mounting yard for the horses. So evolving and always trying to improve them.
And one of probably the major upgrades to the facility was the track itself.
Yeah.
That was a lengthy project. You're off the scene for quite some time, so it must have had a financial burden on the club as well, not having that revenue coming in. But and also the trainers, it would have caused a lot of disruption to them. You have a number of trainers in the area, and horses train on the track each morning.
Absolutely, and as you know, being around the industry, your racetrack is your bread and butter.
100%.
And we've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of resources into our racetrack. And we had to pull up stumps. I think it was in my first year. We had 6 months off to redo the whole track. We basically shaved it back to a bare table and started again and let the growth pattern start. But it's been, while it was a little painful to get through, we're seeing the rewards of that now. We've got a really good turf, a really good deep-rooted turf, which has given us a great balance through the winter and the summer. We do have to carry a lot of load for the racing industry in the winter because a couple of the tracks can't race. So, for us to be racing every fortnight through the winter and still be dishing up great tracks is a really good result.
100% credit to the club and yourself as well. But leading into that, the quality of the track, you are getting some Saturday Metropolitan meetings there. You've got a couple coming up in the near future, I believe.
So in previous times we were getting sort of 4 a year, but the brand new opening of the fantastic race course at Gifford Hill, Murray Bridge, has meant that 2 of those 4 race meetings have now been transferred to Murray Bridge, which was what the original setup was meant to be. So SAJC and Morphettville actually own the Saturday races, and they're kind enough to give 4 of them up, plus Easter Saturday to Oakbank. So us and Murray Bridge will be sharing the 2, and what we have to do with Murray Bridge is we take 1 each in the summer and 1 each in the winter. So we've also done a bit of a deal. We were a bit lucky. We did a bit of a deal with Morphettville, and we got back a Saturday that we actually had lost to them. So they've been wonderful to work with, and it now sees our big summer series through Christmas and New Year. We've got a couple of Saturday Metropolitan race meetings.
They're always cool, always very popular. As are the twilight meetings, and we lead into the twilight meetings. We're coming into that spring, summers, those months, and your feature race meeting, the Gawler Cup. It's a twilight event, and I tell you what, we only said on the show last week, and you probably tuned into our first episode, and we told viewers to clear the diary. If you're not, if you're in Gawler and you're not at the Gawler Cup, you should stay in your house and be locked in your house.
So true. Look, it's ever evolving. It's when I started, Gawler had no twilight race meetings, and it was a thing that's been happening obviously around the country with racing. We've been lucky enough to get a few of those events now, and then I'm really proud of our board and our committee, because we threw, the Gawler Cup's always been a Sunday event, and I went to them with the vision of let's try this, and we sat down and had a really good chat about it, and I got a positive response for them, and then we made the decision to move the Cup to a Friday twilight. Big night of racing, Group 1 racing from Moonee Valley, and we really lead that event in. And obviously it's Cox Plate weekend, so horse racing is on everyone's minds and everyone's lips, so we just bounce into that Friday afternoon slot, and last year being our first year was a huge success. And you would suggest, with the response we've already got and the ticket sales, it's only going to get bigger and better as we go forward.
I haven't even spoken to Rock about this. I reckon we should discuss off air. I love the cow cutter that leads into it. I reckon we should look at doing this show live from the cow cutter.
Great idea.
Do it live on social media. And we'll run this show live. It's on what is it?
The cow cutter we do on the Thursday night, the night before the Cup. But we've also, what we've done, and one thing that we've really worked on with the Cup, is we actually try and involve the community. So we've got some events that we're doing through the week. So Tuesday morning we do a breakfast with the stars at the track. So we get all their members and patrons to come in, and we cook breakfast for everyone. And then Tuesday night this year, on the Tuesday, we're doing a night owls bowl competition for the Gawler Cup. So we've got plenty of things happening around.
I better clear the diary. I better clear the week.
Yeah, exactly. We'll give you a rest on the Wednesday.
Right.
You can have a rest on Wednesday. We've got the cow cutter Thursday.
I've optioned it a couple of times. I have done that with Warren Barrington. I still remember a funny story, and I shouldn't. I normally catch up with him and do the notes. The night at Wayville was on the week after that,
that's right.
the Gawler Cup, and I sat down with Warren and did the form there, and I tipped him the one in the first that won at 17-1 at Wayville. He lost the notes that I give him at the cow cutter that night. I think he had a few too many to drink, so we won't let him forgive that one down.
No, well, I seen Warren today after Balaclava too, and he's very much the same. The head was down. His horse lost the Cup.
I did hear that. He did own the favourite. Now, talking about the Ballot Club, the club obviously wants to challenge for that, pin-up country Cup. It is a big event, the Balaclava Cup, but I tell you what, the Gawler Cup is certainly hunting it down very quickly as the race around the country for the year.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got our own status and our own spot. The Balaclava Cup's a wonderful historic event and a major part of our racing makeup. And, you know, we just want to grow within what we've got. You know, Balaclava's a listed race, got higher quality than probably what our cup's got. But that's okay because, you know, what we've seen the results the last 2 years. We've had a local trainer with the local owners.
We've had our own winks.
Oh, absolutely. But that's what's made the event grow even more. Everyone's really invested in it because, you know, seeing those local people so happy and doing that. So, you know, and you know, we're really proud of it and we want it to grow, and not only the cup but the whole day. So we've created a couple of other races on the day that are going to be quite exciting as well. We're going to, obviously, the heat of the Jericho Cup, so it's going to be the longest flat race we've ever held.
How long is it?
33:40. So,
right, okay.
So just on 2 laps. So so yeah, that'll be a real cool thing as well.
Yeah. No, and you know, of course, we'll be roaming around on the day doing some interviews with punters, trainers, jockeys, and no doubt yourself at times. But you know, probably while our boss sits in the Maverick Marquee, which we did speak about, you know, he'll be sitting there laughing at us, or you know, sipping martinis. But we'll leave that up to him. Now, just quickly, we have, you know, we will speak more as we get closer to the Gawler Cup and probably get you back. But you've signed a major agreement with Cornerstone Stud. So tell us how that benefits everyone involved in the industry and the deal you've come up with, and especially the new racing series that you're about to launch.
Oh, it's really exciting, Aaron. We're really proud to partner up with Cornerstone. Went and caught up with Sam Hayes and the team there, and they were really positive about getting involved. But they wanted more than just have a name and a brand. And we went about putting the series together, and they were very, very positive about that. And you know, they put 3 services up to their horses, their stallions, obviously 2 to Sir Prancelot, and they threw in a Cornerstone bonus for the first filly or mare to win a heat. And that went off in the first heat, which is exciting. So the ambidexter service has already gone. But we've got a 6-race series, which leads into the final being on a Saturday, Christmas Saturday. So the final will be a $40,000 race, which is great prize money, plus 2 services to Sir Prancelot. So already talking to trainers, and from the first heat, they're really excited by it. They're supporting it, and I expect to get great nominations moving forward.
No, so not only you've got the Gawler Cup happening in late October, we go to the you know, your Christmas race meet as well. So there's plenty happening as we come through the spring and summer series. But you know, it's been an in-depth interview. You know, I thank you for joining us, and firstly, you know, and foremost, thanks for being involved on this show and giving you our support. And you know, I think together with Piranha Media, Racing, Pacing and Chasing, and the Gawler and Barossa Jockey Club, we can make the racing world take notice of Gawler and where we're at. So
absolutely, we're excited to be a part of it. We thank you guys, and the more we can do, the better.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks to Shane for joining us as a special guest tonight. But more importantly, thanks to Clay Sampson, Tony Modra, Kim Coster at Fluoro Milk Company. Week in, week out, they bring us the racing side of the show as well. So we'll see you this time next week, and we look forward as the build-up continues to the Gawler Cup. And welcome back to our pacing segment this week of Racing, Pacing and Chasing. Our segment sponsor each and every week, the Kapunda Harness Racing Club. So we thank them very much for their support. I'm Aaron Bain, alongside me Matt Knight, and we're very proud to bring you this show, brought to us each week as well by the Prince Albert Hotel in Gawler, and they do a fantastic job supporting us week in, week out.
Yeah, mate, they're absolutely brilliant. We're up here tonight filming from the Prince Albert itself, and ready to get stuck into talking some harness racing.
Certainly plenty to go through, and in local news, we're going to cover a bit of local news, and then we'll go abroad to interstate as well. But local news, so a few announcements in the last sort of 7 to 10 days. So Harness Racing SA recently announced the SA claiming series, so that's similar. They did the UBET graduation recently, but there'll be a heats and final, so you'll accumulate points. So for the claiming horses, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 claimers. So it's a good pool of horses, but it's also a good ploy by Harness Racing SA to attract horses. And I myself have already had some phone calls about 1 or 2 coming back over the border. So I think there'll be some horses coming to the state for that series, and one of the you know, the conditions that all horses that want to compete in that series have to be in a trainer's name in SA by the 26th of this month. So you'll start to see some horses come back into the state, which is very good. And Wayne, you know, we'll have Wayne on the show later as well to talk about you know, what he wants to see out of racing. I know that's what he's keen to see. He's gone out and got a claimer for this series particularly, so people will start to do that. You know.
So what you're telling me is obviously your parents, Peter and Julianne, they're going to be stoked because you got another 30 horses coming across the border.
Wouldn't say that many, but the stables will fill back up, so we hope anyway. But also the Horse of the Year Awards night's been announced at the Mawson Lakes Hotel and Function Centre on the Friday the 25th of October. So that'll be a great day. And then also the Allwood Stud 2020 SA Yearling Sale, the other announcement, and well done to HRSA here. They've announced 0 entry fee. You know, they know how tough it is for breeders out there at the moment, and they've come out and said, well, we're going to have no entry fee in this year's yearling sale. It is capped at a number, but they don't want to make the industry bleed any more than they have to, and they're going to wear some of that cost, so that's excellent to see.
Just on that, Aaron,
Yeah.
before we go into the next, are there any horses of yours that are going to get the award on the night?
No, I think we'll be quiet this year, mate. I think we'll be quiet. So we shipped 1 or 2 of our better ones over to Victoria in the latter part of the season. So, but that's all right. We'll try and reload for 2019-20 and see what we can find later this year. Let's lead into some Mildura harness racing news, though. Not only so go interstate abroad. So Michelle McGinty Wilson, her team, they do a fantastic job up there in the Sunraysia area. And this week they also announced their a 1-year lucrative deal with the Euston Club and Resort. It's believed to be the biggest in the club's history. So credit to Michelle and her team there. And they had the first race of last meeting as naming rights, and they'll have naming rights over the Cup Carnival. I tell you what, we talk about the Gawler Club, the Gawler Cup here for the Gawler and Brossard Jockey Club, but we should be getting up to the Mildura Harness Racing Cup Carnival. 3 days of exciting racing over a week. I tell you what, it's a great few days.
Sounds probably right up our alley, doesn't it, Aaron? No, very much looking forward to that, and yeah, we'll try and make the effort to get up. Absolutely, you'll have a couple of runners.
We'll no doubt feature somewhere. But the Euston Club actually sponsored the 2019 Sunraysia Cup, and that was only run last week with Rock and Roll Eyes winning there for Glenn Douglas. And so I think Mildura, it's a thriving area, and I know we want to promote harness racing in SA, but we also promote harness racing abroad in general on this show, racing, pacing and chasing. And they had, up to 110 horses engaged at every meeting. Some of the state's most competitive racing in Victoria, and I know it's, you always see competitive betting. You never often see too many short price favourites, and even when you do, they can risk getting beat. But I noticed today they've got 1,789 followers on Facebook, the Mildura Harness Racing Club, which is a fair effort.
Happy with that.
And this show will obviously go to air later in this week, and they've got their awards night on Friday night, the 13th of September. So we wish all the award winners there, and no doubt Wayne will feature prominently. We mentioned he took out the driving honours there this year, the premiership, so he'll no doubt head up and show his support back to the club. And well done to all those. But one thing I think the club have done very well to reward the drivers that do come up, they've partnered with Tasco Petroleum to actually do a drive of the meeting each week. And I think it's only in the way of a $50 fuel voucher, but it was the first time last week.
Yep.
And Alex Ashwood actually won it on his drive on Key Defender, and we'll talk about it in the show, in the interview with Wayne. We've got him joining us lately, but I think week in, week out, there's a fair rivalry that goes on between Alex and Wayne, and I reckon out of the, say, 50 odd meetings they might have up there, or say 40 meetings, I reckon it'll be pretty evenly split between Wayne and Alex. They seem to dominate the track between both of them, so they're both great drivers.
So, Aaron, one thing I want to ask you is for the average punter out there that probably doesn't completely understand why trainers and drivers from SA do go to Mildura. What's the attraction for a trainer like yourself to go, we're going to send 4 or 5 horses to Mildura for a meet?
It's a great little competitive circuit. The Vic Bred bonuses are a big thing. So the $7,000 first win bonuses for any horse that's sort of Vic Bred eligible, which also gives a return back to the owner. So you can have an average horse here that goes up there and collects, if it wins, plus its bonus, $10,000. Now, it's not a lot in terms of gallops, but when we're talking harness racing and the cost comparison, it's a great little, you could say, cash cow for trainers and owners, and I think there's a lot of money. They can have 10 to 12 races at times with $7 grand races on offer. So they're doing a great job, and Harness Racing Victoria is supporting them as well. So plenty to get through there, but let's get moving to our first segment, 3 wide, no cover.
All right, Aaron, we've got 3 wide, no cover, mate, and it's the first unlucky runner from the weekend racing.
Before we get on to that, did you see mine from last week? Ace to play. It stormed home. I tell you what, I couldn't get on the phone quick enough to Butterworth. I had the number on speed dial when I saw it turning for home. Third, $4 a place. I tell you what, follow racing, pacing and chasing, because we'll find you one. And I tell you what, it was absolutely, if it wasn't, it was the widest run on the last bend. It did strike a little bit of trouble as well, but it's ready to win, and I'm going to stay with it. But my one for this week, Glenferrie Bunter, trained by Teresa Nielsen. Its last 4 starts has only been beaten at an average of 9 metres at an average starting price of 55 to 1. And when we talk the segment 3 wide, no cover, there is no better reasoning to support this horse. It was 3 wide, no cover, a lap out in the free-for-all on Saturday night. and it only went down all of, I think, 8 metres.
28-7 third quarter. Canada Bay by a metre. Blinding light asked to lift and try and bridge the gap. Don't Tell Williams being worked on. Goes for the sprint lane. Canada Bay in front. Down the outside, Lochinvar. Hugo's making ground. Canada Bay in front. Don't Tell William on the inside. Canada Bay. Don't Tell William. Don't Tell William. Beat Canada Bay.
In very good company. The leader ran second. Behind leader won the race, and it was off the track doing a lot of the work. So the horse has won 20 races from 55 starts, so it's got a very good record. Teresa Nielsen's only had 5 starts with it. It was off the scene for a little while there, but been a very good young horse and did win a time-honoured Mildura Guinea. So we spoke about the Mildura Club there, and that was over the Cup Carnival. But this horse is ready to win, and it'll be a price, I'm telling you. Teresa won't like it that I've tipped it, but she does work for me, and I actually told her on the show that I'm going to put Glenferrie Bunner as my 3 wide no cover horse to follow because there's some value in it.
I love it, Aaron. Obviously, if you are watching the show, make sure you're putting these into your black bookers because there's no better tipster, especially in the world of harness racing, than this man as well. So make sure you do black book them, and I'll certainly be doing that as well.
One day when I'm going to put one of my own in 3 wide no cover, the driver will be copping a spray if they are luckless for 2 or 3 runs in a row. So we'll worry about that when the time comes, whether it be Wayne or Jake, but we'll deal with that then.
I'd be happy to do it on camera as well. If you put Aaron as well, it'd be a bit of a laugh, mate. Yeah. But as always, we got to thank Punk Club as well, a massive sponsor of racing, pacing and chasing here at Piranha Media as well. So they've backed us in. Jason, Eve and the team, download the Punk Club app today to start your brand new Punk Club as well, mate. But a brilliant little harness wrap up there as well.
Well, we've still got the more to come. Let's go to our next segment, In the Money.
All right, Aaron. Now, we've talked about black booking some winners for the punters out there watching this, but this is the time to do it. We got In the Money, and it's brought to you by Fluoro Milk as well. Clay, Tony Modra and Kimmy Costa and the group down there supporting us massively, mate. You found one that should be thereabouts as well this week. Gone
Mildura here. We talked about the Euston Cup, the Euston Club 2019 Sunraysia Cup won by Rock and Roll Eyes, but I found one out of that race. I didn't mind the run of Murrumbidgee Track, driven by Wayne Hill. So we're going to have obviously him. We'll speak to him a bit later, but. This horse, when it's on, it can really dominate the Mildura circuit. It was second, narrowly beaten, but I was more interested in the way Wayne drove it.
Racing, and look at them, they're flying early. Cashrake Smoker flew out the centre. Murrumbidgee Track came out like a rocket out wide. Rock and Roll Eyes is going quickly as well. They cross Firehouse Rock. Look at the old boy go. Murrumbidgee Track, bang, straight to the lead.
Very tough early. It is a tough sort of horse when it's on, but their intention was to hold the front, and the lead time was astronomical. I think it was. Quote me, I think it was about 41.5. There you go. See how good I go with the timing. But it was a 41 lead time around Mildura, which is hot, and it was still battling out. Had he decided to probably pressure and hold the front, it could have been, and had Rock and Roll Eyes outside him, it could have been the difference.
29.1 the third quarter, around the turn. Rock and Roll Eyes finds, leads 5 metres. Murrumbidgee Track, Bernie Winkle. Cashrake Smokers into the clear. Rock and Roll Eyes 3 metres. Murrumbidgee Track off his back. Rock and Roll Eyes is fighting though, and Rock and Roll Eyes, what a top winner of the Euston Club Sunraysia Cup. Rock and Roll Eyes 3 metres. Murrumbidgee Track, what a run second.
So just with him starting to drive it a bit tougher, I reckon Colin Rogers, very smart trainer in his own right, I reckon he knows it's starting to come back somewhere near its best, and it'll be one to watch. It was decent odds there, sort of. I think they bet $12 in the Sunraysia Cup, but when he's in form, follow him because he's on the money.
No, a great little tip.
And he'll be back in the money shortly.
As we said, black book it as well. But and we thank Fluoro Milk and the team down there for all their support as well. But Aaron, let's get into the run of the week.
And we're back with the run of the week, and our segment sponsor, the Kapunda Harness Racing Club, who sponsor our overall pacing show, and we thank them very much for their support. My run of the week this week, none other than Dark and Dapper, trained by Ryan, the state's leading trainer, Ryan Hohoric, and it's done it the last 2 weeks in a row, so it hasn't only done it 1 week, 7 days apart, 3 wide, from the 1100. So it's 3 wide, no cover, but this thing's just gone foot to the floor and I'm going running away from it. It wasn't luckless, it made its own luck.
Dark and Dapper's running on well, the major threat. Out wide, Ace to Plays a trifecta chance. On the outside, Dark and Dapper presented really well and is going well. Dark and Dapper's going to be too good for Smackwater Jack. Third placing will be Ace to Play.
Driven by Danny Hill on both occasions. It goes very good for Danny Hill, and Ryan sort of made that decision to have Danny on the horse, knowing what drivers best suit the horses, and full credit to Ryan there, doing the right thing, the best thing by his owners, and he'd probably be loved to be driving it, but the horse is certainly, that horse certainly goes very good for Danny Hill. It's won its last 2, as I said, couldn't have been more impressive. This horse is airborne, it's going to keep winning. It was the run of the week, but I want to make a special mention to Don't Tell William. 2 months ago was only a 55 rated horse in the new national rating policy, basically a C1 grade. It won the free-for-all on Saturday night. It's won its last 6 races, and full credit to Toby Ryan here, the job he's done with this horse. A very revy sort of character, a bit like you in the out of nightlife night. But they've driven it to its strengths. It's very high speed. It can cross. They've also taught it to hand up now, and that's its biggest asset. I think it could really, it could go and win some Melbourne Metropolitan races. So watch for it to be featuring over the coming weeks as well. And certainly now it's measuring up to that free-for-all grade.
Mate, great little in-depth look at a couple of ones to watch and a couple of runs of the week there as well. But Aaron, I want to get into the trial file now.
And back with my trial file, it is Culture King. Culture King on Sunday trialled his second trial back from a bit of a layoff since his nasty fall in the Derby, the SA Derby back in January. He is no doubt one of SA's most exciting young horses. He's just rolled over as a 4-year-old, but he was the state's best juvenile. He's back in a big way, trained by Paul Cavallaro, driven on Sunday by Mark Billinger. He had a quiet trial 2 weeks ago. He was let open up this week. He's engaged to race on Monday. He's been nominated this week. So the only problem with him back to the races, you've sort of just got to dodge him a little bit because you just can't get near him. He is very exciting, and I'll tell you what, he'll start off here in SA, but there's bigger targets for him abroad, interstate, and Paul Cavallaro, very astute trainer in his own right. They've actually recently secured the brother to Culture King, so we'll no doubt see him step out as a 2-year-old, and one to watch as well. But Culture King for me, my trial file of the week. And welcome back to Racing, Pacing and Chasing. We're here with our special guest for the pacing segment tonight, none other than Wayne Hill. We give you a big wrap on the show last week, Wayne. You might have jumped in for our episode 1, but thanks for joining us tonight.
No worries, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. And we did speak about you in depth. You're actually in the money. We was normally a horse to follow. I went driver to follow. I went with Wayne Hill last week, and tell you what, you started the season with a bang. 6 winners in the first week.
Yeah, cracker start. It started sort of Monday week ago. I think I won the first 4 races of the season actually, and very, very good start. Yeah, couldn't ask for anything better. And backed up Saturday night with a double, which is super. And I didn't have such a good night last night, but that's the way things go in racing. But I've got a full book of drives on Saturday, so hopefully I can redeem myself and notch up a few more wins on the board.
Well, you say redeem yourself, you're well out in front. I think I did the sums today, 6 winners in a week. You're on track for 300 winners this year, so if we keep that going, we'll
that'd be nice, but I can't see that happening.
Let's just try and get to 100 again.
Yeah, exactly right.
Maybe let's just go back a bit. Tell us how Wayne got involved in harness racing. Where did it all start?
Look, I was very, very fortunate. Both my mum and dad had a property down at Penfield, 20 acres, own stables, track. My dad's still there now training horses, and so very, very fortunate. And my mum's parents, they had horses. Like most people, sort of brought into with a family basically. And my dad's parents also had horses. And they had a property opposite Globe Derby they trained from. So I was very, very fortunate. And me and my sister, we drove ponies at the pony races until we were sort of 15, until we were able to get our trial licence. So. Always grew up with horses, and I think I was fast working horses when I was about 11, 12 years old. Obviously with the quieter ones, Dad used to chuck us on them, and so I've had a lot of experience in the game, and I've been very fortunate to be brought up in it.
Yeah, and you talk about your sister Danny. How strong, that was actually leading into my next question for you, how strong is that rivalry, that brother-sisterly rivalry? How does that go?
Yeah, look, I suppose when we get out on the track, basically she's sort of pretty much like anyone out there, but we're quite close. We spend quite a lot of time together. We travel around together to the meetings, and we go to Mildura once a week as well. That's obviously a four-hour trip up and back, so we do spend quite a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But both very, very competitive people, and both quite hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
So, when we're both out there, it's like any other driver out there
100%.
pretty much. And look, we enjoy racing each other, and definitely very competitive.
Yeah, and you just mentioned there, and just go back to that family affair. Like your dad Gary's still heavily involved. Back, he's back training this season.
Yeah,
he's always had one or two in his name, but he's got a fair few more. Like sort of Danny's team's moved over to him, which is great to see. And your mum Sue's still involved as well. You see Sue around the races, so it is the Hill name is very strong in harness racing in South Australia at the moment.
Yeah, definitely is. Dad will probably train the majority of the horses now.
Yeah.
Danny will probably start taking some more outside drives.
Yep.
So she's got an option on what she can and can and can't drive, basically. But yeah, it was good to team up with Old Man last week. We had a winner together on wheels. We're quite a successful partnership there for a period of time, so it's good for drive a winner from the Old Man.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's we'll probably get Danny in on a show one week and discuss her. But it's an amazing achievement to see an equal amount of wins for the season as well for last year. So you're only a few behind her. But had you had that first, if the season was another week longer, you would have been right in it.
100%, mate. If I had that week I had just previous, the week before the end of the season, I think I would have won by one. I think it worked out. But that's racing.
That's racing. It certainly is. Now we talked about you started the season with a bang, and you had a very good season last year at Mildura. I still remember the last call, Luke Humphries, you won on Thomas Jasper, the last race of the season, and I still remember it clear as day, the king of Mildura.
Yeah.
You were the king of Mildura this year. You own that circuit.
Yeah, well, I've been quite fortunate. I've had a lot of support, not only from yourself, but Frank Mercier. I think probably I would have driven half my winners up there for Frank. He's been fantastic. He's some nice little mares. Our little actress, our Amazing Grace, has just got sold recently to Perth, so she won't be going around anymore. But yeah, had a fantastic season up there. And do get a lot of support up there. It's excellent. And
when I say the king of Mildura, a close mate of mine will probably be very close rivalry up there. Alex Ashford, he'll probably like to challenge you for that this season.
Yeah. Alex probably thinks he's the king, but we'll let him think that for now.
That's probably the best. No point telling him else otherwise. But on that, and talking about Mildura, they do a fantastic job, and I just want to touch on them briefly. They've obviously got, and talking about Alex, he won the drive of the night last week, and each week they're bringing in that $50 fuel voucher from Tasco Petroleum. So hopefully we can win that. You can win that a few weeks of the year and pay for a bit of petrol home.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I've actually been catching a few lifts up there with actually Matt Maguire. So I might have to pass on to him actually. But no, things have been good lately. Me, Denny, and have been going up, been catching a ride up there, which is good. We shared the driving. So those night meetings you don't get back till sort of 3-4 in the morning. So it works out good.
Now a question that. I don't know how you do it Tuesdays, and especially when Mildura fields come out Friday as well as for Friday and Saturday night at Globe. Tuesday afternoons must be a tough afternoon for you when you come out on so many. You have multiple drives in each race, and you've got to choose. That's probably the hardest thing for you in driving. I know personally. Yep,
definitely the thing I dislike the most in the industry is basically trying to sort out my drives.
It's a good thing to have, but it's a bad thing as well.
It is a good thing to have. I try to keep things pretty fair. On a Tuesday afternoon when the fields come out, I'll probably sit out in the car for half an hour and work things out while I'm at work. And then when I get home, I'll probably sit in the car for maybe half hour before I go inside. I like to organise everything before I go inside with the kids and all that sort of stuff, so I'm not sort of sorting things out then. So it is probably one of the things I dislike the most, but I do try and be quite fair, and I generally try to drive my best sort of 1 or 2 chances.
I know Tuesday, you actually rang me before the fields come out on harness.org. You were on, I had to go to Harness Web to get the fields out. You're saying, have you had a look yet? Because you wanted to get it sorted before your drives on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I had a full week of drives on Tuesday, and I didn't want to have to worry about things during the meeting. So I wanted to get it sorted out ASAP.
I know one very close to our stable, and the owner of Piranha Media, he certainly puts a bit of pressure on me to have you in the bike as much as we can. So when I ring him and say Wayne's not driving for X, Y and Z, there's always... I've got to answer questions there as well.
Driving the boss's horse on Saturday night, so
keep him happy.
Bit of luck.
I did say to you, you drive and lava test. That's it. No questions.
No runs. Easy done.
Keep him happy. Easy. But anyway, just on that one, what would you like to see improve in racing in SA? What's one thing? It's a hard question, but what's one thing?
I'd just like to see the horse population somehow increase.
Yeah.
And I would like to see better stake money for the owners.
Yeah.
I'm not sort of worried about so much the drivers' fees increasing or anything like that. I think we need to start off with the horse population increasing, and also the stake money somehow increasing as well, just to try and attract a few more owners and things like that.
No, 100%. That's a very, it's a great answer. That you're not worried about your own pocket. You're worried about the industry and the longevity of that. So, righto, it's our favourite segment. We did it with Jake last week. We actually jinxed him when we interviewed him last week. So we wish you all the best of luck this week. He had a bad night at the office after he went through the hot seat of 10 questions in 60 seconds. But let's fire through them. So 10 questions. We're going to do the same questions we give Jake Webster, and we'll do this week in, week out with our guests on the show. So best horse scene.
Probably Courage Under Fire or El Sue. I watched his interview in New Zealand when I was over there. Probably, those two probably probably better ones I've seen, definitely.
Best horse driven.
Probably have to be, I'd say Ime Macca or maybe Ruffle My Feathers or Little Dreamer back in the day. Ruffle My
We
Feathers.
need one answer. It's got to be quick. One answer.
Ime Macca.
There we go. Good. All right. Rocky's not happy in the backstage.
Love it.
Not sure if he thinks Starlight Rainbow. Anyway, best horse trained. You haven't trained.
I haven't trained any.
Obviously, your dad.
Dad's would have been Ruffle My Feathers, Little Dreamer.
Yeah. Best driver scene.
Oh, Puppet, Freak.
Yeah.
Freak. Yeah.
Best trainer scene.
Have to be probably Clayton Emma.
Yeah.
Do a fantastic job.
Biggest race you've won.
Probably won too many big ones. Won a Grimmel series with the Tropical Chuck Wagon. Won a couple of 2-year-old graduate races.
Yep.
And a country graduation, but nothing sort of no group races or anything like that. So no real big ones.
Leading to the next one. Race you'd most like to win.
The SA Cup. Yeah, I'd have thought I had a good crack last year. I led up and ran third with Ime Macca.
Yeah, going in defeat. Best track you've driven on.
Probably Melton.
Why?
Spacious, big bends, open, get the cart right up.
Yeah. Now, Jake's a no to this. Gloves, yes or no? Driving gloves.
Depends how cold it is.
Depends how cold it is. All right, we'll sit on the fence. We'll say maybe. All right, Wayne, thanks for joining us tonight. You've been an excellent guest, and hopefully we might get you back on one other night later in the year. We've certainly got 45 shows to get through over the next 12 months. But as always, good luck this weekend, Saturday, and then Monday as well.
No worries.
We wish you all the best and good luck. Let's set out for 100, and hopefully this year you can win the Drivers' Premiership.
Exactly.
And
Fingers
good luck
crossed.
again at Mildura.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
And we'll be back after the break with our chasing segment.
And welcome back to Racing and Pacing and Chasing as well, brought to you by the Prince Albert Hotel here in Gawler as well. And we're now back with our chasing segment, which is actually also brought to you by the Gawler Greyhound Racing Club here in Gawler as well, a fantastic partner of us.
100%, and we look forward to getting Sean Noack on at some stage to talk all things greyhound racing in Gawler. Great little facility out there, and I like getting out there when and as much as we can.
Yeah, he's a busy man at the moment. He's got a few things to organise for myself in particular, but a big September coming up, Aaron.
Yeah, certainly. We touched on it last week, and obviously by the time this show goes to air on Friday morning, we'll have seen the heats of the Oaks and the Derby run, but the final next week at our Angle Park, which we certainly look forward to. And then we start to really ramp up into the State of Origin series, and then we head towards the Adelaide Cup in early October. But probably abroad interstate, we've got the TAB $1 Million Chase, and what a concept that is. So there's heats this week. We've got the heat on Friday at Richmond, and then also Bulli on Saturday. So the final's not until the 20th of October. $1 million prize pool up for grabs. There'll be a few heads glued to the TV, and no doubt a few nervous trainers as they walk their dogs to the boxes that night.
Absolutely, mate. And we touched on the State of Origin series. That's the one that I've got in big red marker, looking very, very forward to. But very exciting time to be involved in greyhound racing in South Australia.
And I know a lot of mates, there's no better time to own a greyhound and get
great fun.
Great fun, especially if you can get the right one. We didn't, but we'll try again very shortly, no doubt, and look forward to dipping our toe back in the water. If you get stung the first time, you might as well have another go, I say. So we'll be back there, and so it's. Greyhound racing, it's short, sharp, shiny, and the punters love it. So, 8 dogs, and you can always try and find a winner somewhere.
Yeah,
like the early speed maps.
In my case, just look at the early speed, back that, and hope for the best is the way to go about it, because you just never know. But Darren, on that as well, you've got a couple of kennel watches that I want to get straight into. All right, Aaron, we got talk us a little bit about your kennel watches that you've got for us this week.
The self-proclaimed AB Kennel Watch, until someone wants to take the show on, which we'll be looking for very closely over the coming weeks. But 2 runs of the week. I'm going to go with Razor's Edge as the first one. This is a Melbourne dog, trained by Rosalind Hume at Wattle Flat over in Victoria, but on Murray Bridge on Sunday. I'll tell you what, if you've seen a more impressive dog, let us know, because this one, it's had 8 starts, 7 wins, only been beaten on debut back on the 6th of March. It's won its every one since. Let me read these prices to you. $1.20, $1.04, $1.50, $1.33. Someone thought they could beat it, or we'll start after. $1.75. Oh, we shortened back up. We were burnt at the start before. $1.12, and it won on Sunday at $1.30. It should have been 97 cents the way it won. It smashed the track record. Now the track hasn't been going long at Murray Bridge, but it smashed the track record of 29.59. Have a guess how many lengths it won by?
Well, you tell me, Aaron.
14. 14 lengths in a dog race over the 530 metres.
Well, up towards the turn now. Razor's Edge said, catch me if you can. Dash clear by 6 or 7 to Alinga Jess, and Razor's Edge is going to make an absolute mess of them in the last, opening up by about 10-12 lengths to Alinga Jess, and Razor's Edge a demolition job.
Unbelievable. Anyway, Razor's Edge, my run of the week.
Is that going to start to be called the Winks of the Greyhounds?
Oh, I tell you what, I'll be watching it very closely. I'll put it in my black book. I don't know why with the pricing, but just to watch an excitement machine like that grace the track.
But you don't have just the one for us this week, Aaron. You found another one.
I like to find a couple for our viewers out there. So Corborn Hunter. Now, probably got to swallow my own pride here putting this one up. And I was actually at the pub this night on Thursday. I like going to the pub, and if we can, I'm watching the Angle Park race if I don't get down there. Race 3, I took great interest because my run of the week last week was Road Travel, and I mentioned Kenya Chase as one to watch leading into the Adelaide Cup, and Corborn Hunter said, what about me? He's just come storming over the top. Those other 2 were in the race and did strike a bit of trouble, but Corborn Hunter could have been more impressive as he flew down the back split in 16.79 overall for the 5:15 29.97. So I tell you what, if you go, I know they're different tracks, but let's go back to Razor's Edge, 29.59 over the 5:30. Corborn Hunter's run 29.97 over the 5:15, so 15 metres shorter. And actually, Razor's Edge has run quicker. Now, I'm not fully up to speed on the track surfaces, but it is a track.
It's still a big
quick.
time.
It's still a big difference. So I'm tipping Razor's Edge might be seen over that State of Origin series or the Cup Carnival here. So no doubt 2 to follow, Razor's Edge and Corborn Hunter.
Yeah, lovely little kennel of Aaron Bain's Kennel Watch as well, Aaron as well, which is great to see. A fantastic little Aaron Bain Kennel Watch there, Aaron, but we've also got a couple of dogs to asterisks for the punters out there as well.
Yeah, just the one this week. I'm going to go with Dinah Carney. So Dinah Carney, this is actually, by the time this goes to air on Friday morning, this is one to be getting on Friday afternoon when you're sitting down the pub after a big week for those tradies out there. Race 8, so later in the day you'll be knocked off work. Box 6 over the 6:43. Dinah Carney I'm going with. So trained by Troy Murray. This has been actually a very good Melbourne dog. It's had 75 starts, 14 wins and 23 placings. So building up a nice little record in its own right. But $90,000 in prize money. Good money for a dog, Dinah Carney. Hasn't won yet in SA since coming, but obviously built up a very good record in Victoria. Gets its chance, does like the outside box or going wide because it wants a bit of clear running. So finally gets a chance there. But probably a unique addition out of the Tim Richards kennel. Looks the hardest to beat there tomorrow, but I'm sticking with it. Finally gets the draw it likes. Get on Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, just to mention as well, that is at the Gawler track for those that are looking for a track as well. Race 8, I reckon we'll be looking for a double by that stage on Friday as well, Aaron, to get on.
I actually challenged you last week to say the word fantastic. If you and you haven't said it tonight, you've been. I'd have to go back through the replays. I'm not sure you've said it.
I've been very self-conscious about saying
because
it.
I actually had a pocket full of $2 coins, right? And I was here waiting for you to say fantastic because I was going to go from one pocket to the other. So I only bought 10 $2 coins. I thought I'd use them all. I haven't used any. So we might have to have the $20 on Dinah Carney for punters out there, and then we'll think of a charity to support. But let's have the Piranha Media and Racing, Pacing, Chasing $20 this week on Dinah Carney. Just say fantastic for me 10 times in the show. No, don't do that, please. Anyway, talking about... We've gone the whole show without you saying it once, so it's been very good. But, we are, as I said earlier, we are looking forward to getting Sean Nowak on the show from the Gawler Greyhound Racing Club, and they do sponsor this show and a great support. And there's been a lot happening at that facility, and, you can probably talk firsthand. It's only it's a great facility, not only a good function centre for business meetings, weddings, birthday celebrations, and you got a bit of a show there Friday. It is a good little facility in Gawler to be utilising for all things.
Yeah, well, obviously being involved at the Gawler Central Footy Club as well, we use it quite regularly. So for people that don't know, or probably most people know at the moment, that the upstairs or the facility itself's been there for 3 or 4 years.
Do you know how many seats exactly?
Yeah, upstairs is about 200 with
yeah.
tables of 10. So looking to hopefully get to that on Friday. But what most people don't know, Aaron, is probably in the last 8 weeks, the downstairs, which was just a warehouse, that has now been refurbed into a room for about 150 people as well.
Okay.
So they've actually got 2 rooms now. So we're there on Friday. We're obviously using the upstairs, but it doesn't discourage punters from being able to go to the track, because what the Greyhounds are doing is they'll open up the downstairs. It's beautiful down there as well. You can still get your food and everything that you like, and it's still a brilliant place to watch racing, and you're really close to the action, which is great.
A bit of a fun fact for you on the Gawler Club. It was first run the Gawler Gold Cup in its current format in 1983. So it's developed a very proud history.
Bit before our time.
Bit before our time, yeah. We weren't even a twinkle in our parents' eyes back then, King of the North. But in 2006 it achieved a Group 3 status. I'll tell you what, it's run in late October this year. It's around the same time as the Gawler Cup at the Gawler and Barossa Jockey Club, which we look forward to attending. So we've got a busy October coming up, mate.
Yeah, I hope...
If we can get Sean on, even better. So
it's going to be good, but yeah, as you said, obviously we're going to talk to Sean about this a lot more. Obviously, he's just a very busy man at the moment, but we are working on it, Aaron.
I'll put a warning out there to Sean. When he does come on, I'm going to grill him on the track record holders and the times. I'm up with the times now. I've got it all under control. So Sean, be prepared to go through the hot seat with myself on the track record holders. So do your homework, be ready, because you're not getting the cheat sheet.
I'm sure he'll be all over it as well, Sean. He's a brilliant operator down there.
You do a good job though, Sean. We love you.
Gawler Racing Club as well. So we love Sean and all his work and the team down there as well, Aaron. But another racing, pacing and done. Episode 2 just keeps getting better, mate.
I'll tell you what, I was going through our notes for today and I thought, I rang our boss man, Rocky. I said, this is going to be a massive show. We've had a lot to get through. We've had 2 great special guests in Shane Collins and also Wayne Hill. We thank them very much for joining us. We thank our sponsors. It's been a great episode. And I'll tell you what, episode 3 next week, this time next week, it'll be even bigger again. And I look forward to joining you this time next week.
No, it's going to be brilliant, mate. And as we said, obviously thanked all of our sponsors, but as well, most importantly, the PA, the Prince Albert here in Gawler as well, a major sponsor where we are filming from tonight. So episode 3, it's going to be a big one, and make sure you like the Piranha Media Facebook page, and as well, we've now got our YouTube channel as well, which you can subscribe to for all our premium content as well. So give it a like, subscribe, and we've got so much more to provide for you over the course of the year as well. All right, we got Matt's Mad Multi, brought to you by Punt Club, Jason Neve and the team at Punt Club. Aaron, a fantastic app if you're looking to have a bet with your mates, your footy club. There's a lot of footy clubs out there that do have a Punt Club. And it's nice, easy to use, mate. We've used it as well, so a brilliant application.
100%, and it always gives that bit extra spending money come footy trip time for those footy clubs out there. So it's a great concept and great to have them on board this year with before the bounce and also racing, chasing and pacing.
Yeah, the thing I love about it is that they've got their own goals that you can reach, golf trips, just things that us lads like that you can set a target to reach to as well. So it's 100%. Fantastic. Get your footy club on it. That means no one has to run it. It's nice, easy to use. Download the Punt Club app today or jump onto the website puntclub.com as well. Aaron, we're heading into the Geelong West Coast game this week.
Yeah, belter.
To find our multi-special. Last year's premiers taking on Geelong, who have been in red hot form. I'll tell you what, last week I got a few messages come through saying this multi's going to get up. We were unlucky in the sense that...
Got the early crow.
Yeah, well, Josh Kennedy kicked his 4 at half time, which we had, and Elliot Yeo, we just needed him to kick a goal, and the margin 1-39. West Coast obviously blew it out in the end, but it's always gamble responsibly, Aaron, but we got a beauty this week as well, mate. So, looking at that Geelong West Coast game, we've got Geelong 1-39 at $1.92. lock them in for it, I reckon, Aaron.
Lock them in. It burnt you last week, but we'll take it this week, right? We'll go second chance.
We'll take it again. Paddy Dangerfield, his last 3 games of the year, I reckon he polled 9 Brownlow votes when we get to Brownlow Day. 20 touches, 2 goals at $2.45.
I like that on its own. That's a good standout
And
bet.
I reckon you'll have it on your own as well, Aaron. That's
Mark
the
that one
second leg. Flying Ryan from the West Coast Eagles as well to kick 1.5 goals or more. So he's just got to kick 2 at $2.45.
Can he kick 1 goal and 3 points and get the multi there or not? No.
No, he's got to.
Okay.
He's got to kick. He's got to kick the 2, Aaron.
Right.
But he's very much a chance to do that as well. Now the 4th leg as well, Aaron. A lot of people will be disgusted at this leg, but Tim Kelly to have less than 19.5 touches at 3.25.
What's your theory there?
I think he's now announced that he's going to be elsewhere but Geelong. We've seen in the past it has a big effect on people's football when they hit the track as well. So I'm just thinking that, you know, he's made that announcement. That might be a bit tough as well. But the odds you're getting there, Aaron, are $10.07 as well. So if you're having a punt on the footy on the Geelong West Coast game, jump on Matt's Mad Multi as well. Thanks to Punt Club, Jason Eve and the team, and gamble responsibly as always.
We'll be following.